to figure out where we're going to put this cylinder here, I think we first need to create this one and place it here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll hit the 3 key to go to the side view, and let's tab into edit mode. Oh, let me turn on the edit cage here so I can select this face here, move the cursor to it, and we'll create a cylinder here. I'll press RY90. And then what let's do is bring this, I'll press Control 1. Let's bring this into the center here, and I'll press S and X, and let's scale it out. Now, this too seems to have, is that a bolt? Yeah, it is. So there's a bolt there that we could use that same thing again. To do that, though, let's go ahead and delete these faces over here. We won't need those, right? Let's do that. And then let's scale in the X and bring these inside so we won't see that. Then what let's do is bring in that bolt. I feel like that cylinder is a little bit thick. Let's press S Shift X to just scale in the Z and the Y, and I'll make that a little bit thinner. There we go. And then let's grab that bolt. Here we go. There it is. Duplicate and pull it out and bring it down and put it in here. Something like this. Maybe scale that up a bit. And let's move it and put it right in place here. Yeah, so that, I think that'd work. Let me make it a little bit bigger. And then what let's do is just press Shift D X and move it over to the other side. RZ 180. And we'll put it right over here. Okay. So now that we've got those in place, we can now create this cylinder that kind of angles from here down to there. So let's give that a try. I think I'll place the cursor up here, right here, and then let's create a cylinder up there. We will probably need to make it a little bit bigger, right? S and Z. Maybe I'll scale it down so it's a little bit thinner. And then let's bring it in here. And let's turn it. And then I'll change to local transformation orientation. I can do that with the comma key. So I'll just change to local here. Now I can scale in the Z and it'll extend out like that. I kind of want that right up in there. Right up actually in that cylinder there. Let's do this. And then we need to turn it so it then rests right on this cylinder here. So I think what I should do is come up here and move the cursor one more time. I'll press Alt-Z, tab into edit mode, and select that one face there. Move the cursor to it with Shift S2. And now what we can do is press period and change our pivot point to the 3D cursor. Now we can rotate it around the X at that point. So if I press R and X, I can rotate it up and down, and we can move it until it just almost intersects with that cylinder right there. There we go. Actually, I may need to pull it out just a little bit more, because now that I take a look at it, it looks to me like, and I could be totally wrong on this, but it looks to me like this part down here is thicker than this part up here. Somehow, somewhere, this gets to be a little bit thicker. And if I do that, I'm going to need a little bit more space there. So what I want to do then is maybe tab into edit mode and create an edge right in here. And then let's press Alt and click here, and then also select this face there. And what I want to do is hit E and enter, and then I want to fatten it out a bit. And to do that, remember we press Alt S. And I kind of, a little bit too much there. I don't want to fatten that out just a bit like that. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so now that we have that, we need to kind of connect it. So we need to connect this piece to this post here, and we also need to connect this up here to the post. I think what we can do is grab this cylinder and move it over here, or duplicate it and move it over here like this. Maybe scale it down. Oh, I still have my pivot point at the 3D cursor, so I'll hit period and 8 to change that back to the median point. Then I'll scale down a bit and kind of put this in here like that. So how are we going to get these to connect up? I think what I'm going to do is basically do the same trick I did up here. So if I select this piece and I insert a couple of edge loops in it, let's say I tab into edit mode and press Control R, and let's do 2 edge loops here. I'll go back to global orientation with the period key and global. Now I'll press S and X and kind of move this out like this. Now I'm not exactly in the center here, but that's okay. I can kind of move these over like this. There we go. And then what I'll do is take just 2 faces, maybe something like this. Yeah, and let's just extrude these out. Hit E and pull them out like that. And then what I want to do is once again bevel these edges. So I'll press Control A and apply the scale. Then I'll select this edge and these edges here. And then let's press Control B and move the mouse and scroll the mouse wheel to add edges if we need. And maybe something like this. Let's try that. Yeah. So that kind of connects that up there. Now the next thing we need to do is figure out this guy up here. This thing needs to be connected to this post. And I could try the same thing that we just did off of that post, but I kind of remember that we did this sometime before. So let's bring back the rest of the vehicle here. I'll press Alt-H to unhide everything. And then, yeah, right down here, there's this guy. Let me tab into edit mode and select this thing here. There, that. I could use this on that post. So let me select this loop of faces and then press Control plus, and I'll extend that out to there. Now let's duplicate this and hit X and move it out. There we go. Now let's hit P and separate it by selection. And then if we select this, we also need to remove that mirror modifier, right? So I'll do that. And we can move the pivot point or the origin back to the geometry. Let's do that. Now we can take this piece and move it up and put it in place and see if it'll work. Let's press RZ90 and let's bring it up here. See if this will work. Scale it down, put it right there. And now where did it go? There it is. So we need to bring it in from the top over here. Let's grab that and move it over. And I think we could maybe move it right about to there. And let's see how it looks. So there we go. We've got that in there. It's connected with the pole here. Let's also scale out in the X, kind of make it a little bit thicker there, and maybe even scale it up just a hair like that. Yeah, I think that'd probably work. Now, the last thing I can see here that we definitely need is this little piece right here, that cylinder. And I think we can just extrude that off of this. So let's press Control R and create 2 edges here. I feel like we should move these up, so I'll hit G 2 times to slide that edge up. Alt-click this edge and G 2 times. And slide that down like that. Maybe about there. So then we have this loop of faces that we can extrude. Hit E and enter. And then press Alt-S to kind of bring those out like that. So something like that, let's say. Yeah, I feel like it needs to be a little bit thicker though, so maybe what let's do is grab these faces down here, and if I then change to local transform orientation, I'll hit the comma key and go to local. Now I can pull it down in the axis of the object itself, and maybe we want it, I don't know, something like that. Let's try that. So I think we've got the pieces in there, just the basic pieces that we need. I feel like now that I've been tumbling around this for a while, that this ammo box just feels too small. I don't know, somehow this just seems bigger than this. What I can do maybe is tab into edit mode and just select the box and the bracket and maybe the handle. And let's just scale it up and see what happens. If I just scale it up like this and then bring it out. And then maybe I could move it back so it's kind of in line with the front, but it kind of sticks out the back. I don't know. I'm not sure. I just felt like it needed to be a little bit bigger for some reason. So let's give that a try. Yeah, it just makes it a little bit beefier for some reason. Yeah. Okay. Now what let's do is let's add all of these pieces to the gun object itself. So if I select this and this and these bolts, I'm just going to go through and select everything here. This piece, these small bolts here. Just everything we've added so far. Oh, and this piece right here. Now I'm just going to select the gun, shift-click that, and press Control-J. And look what happened. I forgot to apply a modifier. We lost our mirror there. So let me press Control-Z. I need to select that, apply the mirror. And now that I think about it, I also had modifiers up here, didn't I? The solidify. Let's apply those too. Yeah, let's get those done. Is there anything else that would need a modifier applied? I think that's it. So I'll go through again and select all of these, and then we'll apply or join all of that to the gun, Control-J. And let's go ahead and apply the shade smooth again, and we can play with the auto smooth here and see if we can get anything any better. I think that's pretty good. If I can move it down like this, let's see how that works for everything else. Yeah, I think that kind of works like that. There we go. All right. So now we've got the gun kind of placed in there. I think what we should do now is begin working on the surface details of the cab. So if we go over to, I don't know, one of our reference images here, maybe this one, let's say, let's take a look, Control Space. What we have is we have a lot of pieces here coming off of the cab. So the rear view mirrors here, the hinges, this, I don't know if we want this camera thing, this piece right here, these pieces, which look like lights to me, this here, this cylinder with the extrusions coming off of it, all of this, we need to kind of figure out how much we need. I mean, we need the door handles, we probably need the hinges, we need the rear view mirrors, and we need to kind of figure out how much more we need of the details on the cab here. So in the next video, we'll begin working on that.